Ultimate Alliance 3 is finally here, then. It's a game that I imagine quite a lot of people will be surprised how difficult it actually is. I know a lot of players have been going through the equivalent of the normal difficulty, which is Mighty 1, and I've seen quite a few players that are actually struggling getting through that because the game is really pretty tough, but it is coming from Team Ninja and they are well known for making pretty solid games. Now, I've put a lot of time into the game in the last few days since it's released. I'm a bit embarrassed to say how many hours I've put in, but I will say that I've had quite a few late nights and I'm actually starting to feel it a little bit here, but in that time I've managed to pick up some tips that have actually helped myself, and I'm hoping they will help you too. So this will be my top 5 tips for new players and just for players in general. So let's jump in and see what we've got first. So the first tip I have is all around getting a firm understanding on the 6 different stats that are in the game and how they apply to different characters. You can see the stats up the top right at the moment. So it's strength, vitality, mastery, resilience, durability, and also energy. Now, as you progress in the game, you unlock the ability to equip ISO 8, you unlock the Alliance Enhancement System, and through that you can actually choose to focus on putting particular stat types on characters. So you need to make sure you understand what stats will actually benefit what characters. Now, the character we brought up, Hawkeye, is actually one that's got a bit of a mixture in regards to the stats that he can benefit from, but we'll start off with the top one, which would be strength, and hopefully by the end of this you'll have a much better idea how this would work and how you actually want to allocate your points. But you start off with strength. This one here, this will affect the hero's physical attack power. So this increases damage done with melee attacks, piercing attacks, and also projectile attacks. And under each of the different skills you can actually see a little icon that lets you know the type of attack it is. So Hawkeye would definitely benefit from this strength stat here. Now, the next one we have, this is vitality. Nice and simple. This determines how many hit points your character has. So you really want to stack this on all heroes, not at the expense of other stats if you're trying to build a character that's maybe a glass cannon, for example, but all characters will benefit from vitality, whereas not all characters will actually benefit from strength. Now, let's actually explain why that's the case when we talk about the next stat here. So this one is mastery. Originally, I think we believed this would be tied in with abilities, but it's actually not. This affects the damage done by ethereal and energy attacks. So that will typically be your likes of magic characters. So it could be Doctor Strange, it could be Scarlet Witch. Their damage type will be ethereal or energy. So on those characters, you'll want to stack mastery and you want to make sure you avoid the strength stat there. Now, that's the offensive stats. You've then got the defensive ones, and they're broken into 2 categories here, and they're quite similar to the offensive ones actually. You've got resilience first. This affects a hero's resistance to damage from ethereal and energy attacks. And then you have durability. This affects a hero's physical defense. It reduces the damage taken from melee attacks, so you want to put this on characters that will be in melee range, and also piercing attacks and projectile attacks as well there. So you really want to have a mix of resilience and durability. Potentially, if you're going up against a certain boss that maybe has a lot of ethereal or energy attacks, you could switch out your ISO 8 and try and up your resistance in it in the short term there. But overall, for generally playing through the game, you want to have a balance between the 2 of these on all characters. Finally, we have energy. This is a really important one. This determines how many total energy points, or EP as it's also known as, that your character actually has, and this is used to fire off your abilities. So that's the 6 different stats. So just make sure when you're building a particular hero, you check out their abilities to see how their actual damage works out, so you know if you want to stack strength or you want to stack mastery. And with the other stats, you're looking for a nice balance. That would be vitality, durability, and also resistance. But this will give you a really good starting point for the game if you do have an understanding of this. So let's now check out the next tip. This next strategy I've used is one that's really helped me out a ton, and it allowed me to actually beat the final boss in the game. I won't spoil who they are, but it allowed me to beat them first time by making good use of this, and it's all about swapping heroes. Now, the advantages that this can actually provide, when I say swap heroes as well, I'm not meaning swap out the characters you're using, but I mean switch between different characters when you're actually in combat. So at the moment we've got Deadpool, Hawkeye, Spidey, and also Scarlet Witch. Now, each of them can offer different things that they actually bring to the table. Scarlet Witch, for example, can drop down a heal, so it's nice to switch to her every so often. You've got Spidey, who can provide some crowd control, and then you've got Hawkeye and Deadpool, who can also provide the damage when you need it. So depending on if you need some healing, you need some crowd control, you need some damage, swap between your characters. You also find when the AI is controlling a character, they won't use their abilities as much. So if you see a character sitting potentially on full energy points, then you can switch to them and fire off some abilities to get some additional damage or crowd control there. I've also found as well that when I have a character and their health is exceptionally low, if I then switch out and change to another character, the AI for controlling in the character in the game really isn't good at all. But it looks like there may be some kind of resistance check you get there, and what I mean by that is it looks like when the computer's actually controlling a character, they won't take as much damage as they potentially would with you, because I've seen a character run around for 5 minutes with a little sliver of health left, and they have been getting hit on occasion, but they've not actually been knocked out. So that's the two reasons really I would say it's very important in combat that you do keep switching between your characters. Now let's see what the next tip is. When you're playing through Ultimate Alliance 3, then very regularly you will come up against bosses and you'll come up against elites, and they've got this purple bar you can see just at the top here below Kingpin's health bar, and that is their stagger gauge. Now with this you can do attacks and it actually works down. Light attacks will pull it down very slightly, heavy attacks will do more, and then you actually have certain abilities that if you check them out within the menu for the character, it will let you know if it can lower the stagger gauge even further, for example. Now with this, when you actually work it all the way down, what will happen is the character's knocked down. It's probably for about 1 or 2 seconds or most, and then the bar fills up again. Now during those 1 or 2 seconds you can do additional damage to the character when you are attacking them. One thing that's quite hard to actually figure out, I don't think the game explains it incredibly well, and I've only realised this recently, but it's made a huge difference, is that when the bar runs down, if you use a synergy attack, so that means if you hit the right trigger and use one of your abilities at the same time as another character, then you'll actually stun that character, and they'll be stunned for a good 3-4 seconds. So you add that onto the initial knockdown, and you're looking about 5-6 seconds of free damage and additional damage that you are doing on the character. Now in regards to the stagger gauge, few ways you can get it down. The first one is you can run it all the way down, the character will be knocked down, and then you can quickly fire off a synergy attack or one of your extreme attacks, and that will stun the character. A way I've found to get it much more consistently is that whittle the stagger gauge down till it's exceptionally low, there's just a tiny amount left, and then do a synergy attack. Now that synergy attack damage will actually pull the damage of the stagger gauge all the way down, but you'll continue to do a few attacks and you'll actually stun the character straight away as well. So this I've found is the best way to get characters stunned, and the difference you can do damage wise in this when you work it correctly is absolutely incredible. So that's the stagger gauge. Let's see what we've got next. When you're playing through the story mode in the game for the first time, you'll get a ton of characters actually thrown at you, and it's a whole lot of fun to actually go in and test out all those different characters. But one of the problems with actually doing this is it means you'll have a wide roster of characters at low to medium level, as opposed to a small number that could potentially be at high level. Now personally myself, I think it was round about 3 players that were a core part of my team. I would drop in a 4th member every so often, a new one, just to try them out and actually see how I could get on with them. But I kept 3 core members. One of them was Deadpool, who's got regen, and using those 3 members I was able to beat the entire campaign, and it was only 2 boss fights. I won't spoil which ones they were, but it was only in 2 boss fights that I was actually defeated on one occasion. Other than that, I was able to make my way through the campaign nice and easy there, and that was on the mighty difficulty as well. So what I would recommend, have at least 2 to 3 characters in your core team in the story that you don't swap out at all. Put your XP cubes into them in the first instance, get them nice and strong, and for a bit of fun, if you do want to drop in a new character now and again, because you're playing a harder difficulty than that character can manage, they may get knocked down, but your other stronger characters will pull you through, and it means that particular character will actually level up quicker as a result of taking on the harder enemies as part of that group. So as mentioned already, Deadpool's a great character due to his passive health regen, and I've heard that Wolverine's actually great as well. He's another character with the health regen. It's based on a percentage of health they actually have. So if you've got a stronger character, you've got his health constantly going up, it really can work out nice for you. So let's see what the final tip is now. The final tip we have here is based around the alliance enhancement system. You unlock this relatively early on in the game, and this is a way of universally boosting the stats and all your characters. Now when it unlocks, the temptation is to straight away go in and start completing all the nodes and getting those nice stat boosts. However, you don't want to do that for 3 different reasons. The primary reason is the fact that you cannot respec this, so any decisions you actually make are permanent with it, so it means you can potentially make a mistake and it can really slow down your progress. You've got the fact as well that with this, that some nodes are actually better than others, some are exceptionally strong, some look to be quite weak. And then finally, your characters, when we talked about the stats, you can see they benefit from different stats. So let's say that you actually go into the tree that would boost your mastery, and then at end game you decide to have a team that's got 4 characters based around strength. So you've actually made a mistake, you'll be boosting characters that you're not really using. So for that reason, it is exceptionally important you do take your time with this. Now, what I am planning to do, I don't have any specific advice on nodes you can take just yet because there's a lot in this system, but I'm planning to have a good look at this tonight, and in the next few days I'm going to get an alliance enhancement video out talking about some of the best nodes to actually pick up depending on the characters that you are playing. So the final tip then really is just make sure you take your time when it comes to the alliance enhancement system. Resist the temptation to go in and grab those nodes straight away, and if you want to see my take on what nodes you should actually go for, then hit the subscribe button if you've not already done so, and you'll get notified when the video is ready around that. But that's the top 5 tips I got. I hope they have been helpful. If you've got any other tips that you find have been helping you actually get through the campaign or get through the Infinity Trials, let me know in the comments below, and thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.